Aloha, my name is Brian Minatoya from the City and County of Honolulu Section 8 office. This is the Section 8 pre-briefing presentation. This presentation will serve as a tool for your understanding to learn about the Section 8 intake process. Let's go over some housekeeping information. Reasonable accommodation. If you or anyone in your family is a person with disabilities and you require a specific accommodation in order to fully utilize our program and services, please speak with one of our staff members so they can help you with this process. The purpose for this briefing is to help you understand how the Section 8 program works, prepare you to complete your Section 8 application, explain the contents of the Section 8 application packet, and discuss other leasing strategies that may be helpful for you. So how our program works is that we receive federal monies from the federal government to operate our program. So we have to follow their rules and regulations in order to facilitate this rental assistance program. We do have funding limits as our federal government is our funder, and there are times that we may need to change the way we operate our program, such as placing people back on the wait list, or change the way we facilitate our rental assistance program. There is two Section 8s on the island of Oahu. We have the State of Hawaii Section 8 program and the City and County of Honolulu Section 8 program. Both have similar rental assistance programs, but with this information, please provide your Section 8 application back to the City and County of Honolulu. The goal for this program presentation is to help you understand how this program works and also prepare you to complete your application. This is a very valuable opportunity where you will be given the opportunity to pay about 30 to 40% of your income towards rent, with the minimum rent of $50. Let's go over income and what is income. Income is all amounts and benefits, monetary or otherwise, which may include but not limited to gross wages and salaries, net income from a business you operate, Social Security, pension, veteran benefits, child support and or alimony, welfare assistance, regular help from family members or friends, interest, dividends, and other net income from real or personal property and assets. On the first page of your application, we'll have information about our factors of eligibility, income limits. Take the time to look at this first page, as it's very important to understand if you're income eligible for our program. If you are over our income limit, you will not be eligible for our program. Take the time to look at the area of very low income, 50%. Those are the numbers that we use to determine if you are eligible or not eligible based on your income. Also, take a look at your family size. Each person in your household is considered a family member regardless of age or gender or other status. So when you first applied as a single person and you are now residing with a family but still contending to use this assistance by yourself, you would not add those other family members. You would just be focusing on the application for yourself. So that's an example of understanding the family size. Or maybe your family size may have changed where your family has either grown or shortened. This is a time to update your application for Section 8. With consideration for everyone's income in your household, again, double check if it's above the very low income 50%. If it is, you will be deemed ineligible for Section 8 assistance. One example, if a family size of 2 has an income of $60,000 within a year, they would not be eligible for the program. The eligibility income limits are reviewed annually by Housing of Urban Development HUD. Please check our website for the current income limits. On that same page, on the bottom, you will see a range of payment standards. And that range of payment standards is information based on our range of assistance. So Depending where you select to live on the island of Oahu may change your subsidy amount. So what payment standards is the maximum subsidy that Section 8 can pay based on your size of your household. So sometimes rents can change from zip code to zip code, from Waikiki to Salt Lake to Waianae. So later on in our presentations, you will receive a copy of the payment standards for your review, but I want to give you some information on hand so you know what the ranges are. How we determine voucher size is 2 people per bedroom. A single person will receive a studio size voucher, and then after that, it'll be 2 people per bedroom. So say a 5-person household will receive a 3-bedroom voucher because there's 2 pairs of 2, and an extra person will make a 3-bedroom voucher. All right, so let's go over the step process so that you understand about what next steps you need to do to be successful with the Section 8 intake process. For this first step, you need to attend or review this briefing that we're doing. This is called the pre-interview informational briefing. And this will cover, again, the program eligibility requirements, the income limits, the application process, the time limit, and if applicable, sign up for a return appointment. The next step is to submit the application that you receive and any other required documentation. It's important that you complete your application in full before you're turning it into us, and refer to any other labels or letters or correspondence that's attached to that application. And also submit any other required documents that's necessary for your application, and understand that any incomplete application may be canceled. The third step is for our housing examiners and our housing staff here. We'll review all the documents you give us. Please give us some time. There's a lot of information. We need to do some background checks. And at this time, if we have additional questions about your application, we may reach out to you directly if we need some clarification on those documents. And the last step of the process, which I hope to see everyone there in the future, is the Section 8 voucher briefing. This is a mandatory presentation, the voucher briefing presentation, where we would explain the program rules, the housing assistance payment limits, such as the payment standard schedule, and your 60 days for initial housing search will begin then, and also you'll be signing and receiving your voucher. Be mindful that once your voucher expires, the application may be canceled and you will be able to reapply again once the waitlist is reopened. So please be careful about time-sensitive documents. All right, now I'll be talking about your application. One housekeeping about your application is that you must photocopy all your documents and you must bring them to your assigned time. If you do not bring the originals and photocopies, your application may be canceled. So it's important to, again, make photocopy of your documents and provide both to our office. Providing only photocopies would not be acceptable. All right, so the first 6 pages of your application will be primarily about your head of household and household members. The head of household is the person who applied on the wait list. This is the one that will be assigned a voucher. So please be sure to put that head of household information on page 1 and then enter the other adult information on pages 2 to 3 to 4, depending on how big your household size is. Include information if anyone over the age of 18 is attending a higher education class, such as college, and also enter information for all children under the age of 18 throughout the other pages as well. If more space is needed, you can reproduce the pages if as needed. This is the required documentation for all household members. We would need a copy of the Social Security card, the birth certificate, and for children, if applicable, we need the custodial documents, adoption papers, or other proof that the children are members of the household. We also need documentation for full-time student registrations. And if your name did change due to marriage, we need your marriage certificate or your divorce decree. Also, if you do have an alien registration card, we need a copy of that document front and back. On pages 7 through 8, there'll be a series of questions about your employment. You need to provide your name, address, telephone number of your employer, and provide us copies of 4 months of consecutive pay stubs. Also, you need to provide information of other type of income you expect to receive from employment, such as tips, commissions, profit sharing, and other type of wage type of endeavors. Please also provide us most current copies of your federal and state tax returns, including your W-2s, Schedule C if you're self-employed, and any other attachments. Our funder, the Housing and Urban Development HUD, requires us to use the system called EIV, which stands for Enterprise Income Verification. The housing agency will access your labor, Social Security, and SSI benefit information, and this is used to assist the examiner to determine the share of rent and if there's any non-reporting of income, which is called fraud. Fraud is not allowed in a Section 8 program, so it's very mindful when putting information in your Section 8 application to be truthful and understand there is consequences for putting false or misrepresenting information. On page 9, you will continue to let us know for any other sources of income besides employment, and there'll be a long list of information about income sources. So if you do receive this income, you would check yes. If you don't receive this income, you would check no. So for each one that you do receive, just please provide us your family member's name, the type of income, and other information about that income. So the list will include such as unemployment compensation, Social Security, benefits, we have pensions, disability income, alimony, child support, public assistance, and many other types of income. On the bottom of that same list, for any other type of income your family receives that's not belonging in that list and you don't know where to put it, I recommend adding in that area so that you won't be considered for fraud or any type of negative action. So just if you don't know where that income belongs, you can use this part right here so that you feel assured that you responded to everything correctly. On the bottom of that same page, on page 9, would ask you a question. If anyone receives any income from any other source, including someone outside your household, paying for any of your bills or giving you money, you have to provide that information. So if a friend or a family member is giving you monetary assistance or paying for your bills on an ongoing basis, you have to let us know and put this information in your application. In addition to that, you would have to ask that person to write you a letter to verify that they provide you some type of support, whether it be monetary or just giving you support to pay for your bills. On page 10, would include information about child care and disability expenses. This question will ask you about amounts anticipated to be paid by the family for the care of children 12 years of age or under, but only where such care is necessary to enable a family member to actively seek employment, be gainfully employed, or to further his or her education. Please provide the name and mailing address of that child care provider. On the same area, for disability expenses, if you pay for care or equipment for a disabled member of your family so that either that disabled person or another member of your family may work, please provide that name and information as well. On the bottom of page 10, you will see a question about real estate. If you do own property, you have to provide us more verification and information. If you don't own property or any real estate, you would just check no. But let's go over if you do. If you do own property, you need to provide us information the current value of the property. If you own property and rent it, you have to provide us information about the address and about information about the income you receive and what expenses you have for the real property. So please bring last year's Schedule E form from your income tax returns and bring a copy of the real property assessment card. On page 11, we'll cover a lot of information about assets. You need to list all account numbers, including Christmas clubs, certificate of deposits, IRA, and other type of bank accounts on your application, and bring in a copy of your most recent bank statements for the last 3 months. This includes amounts that are jointly owned by any family member. So not just the head of household, it could be other adults, children, or dependents, and also accounts that are open with a zero balance. On the bottom of page 11, there will be another list that you will need to go through to check yes or no if you do receive these type of assets, such as life insurance, trust funds, stocks or bonds, certificate of deposits, notes, mortgages, retirement accounts, or other types of assets. And then please provide, along with your application, a verification of the most recent verification from this asset source. On page 12, if you require or have a live-in aide, please provide us information about your live-in aide. The live-in aide must qualify and be approved to live with the household member. There will be another question about if your name. So if you ever change your name in the past or use a different social security number in the past, you need to provide us information about what the reason was. Perhaps you got married and that's why your name changed. Again, you need to provide us the marriage certificate or other documentation why your name did change or your social security number did change. On page 12, they will ask other questions about drug, criminal activity, or sex offender status. If you or any member of your household has been arrested and convicted for any drug-related or felonious violent criminal activity, the questions K and L will cover those two questions. These are the criminal background check items that our office will be using. It is a federal regulation for a lot of these screening criteria, and this primarily pertains to methamphetamine, registered sex offenders, and criminal convictions. It is a lifetime ban from federal housing assistance if you're convicted of the manufacturing, production, or distribution of methamphetamine. Also, it's a lifetime ban from federal housing assistance if you are a registered sex offender. All other criminal convictions carry a 3-year window from the date of your application. These criminal convictions are convictions that are violent criminal activity or illegal drug-related activity. So one example is if you did get a speeding ticket last year, your application may be pretty good because it's not violent in nature or illegal drug in nature. However, if your criminal conviction carries a sex offender offense, a legal drug offense, you might need to see if that head of household or household member will still be eligible for Section 8 assistance. The state allows the use of medical marijuana. However, federal laws do not recognize the use for medical marijuana. Marijuana is considered to be a controlled substance. Therefore, if you or any member of your household are found to manufacture, possess, or distribute a controlled substance from your unit, the family will be automatically terminated. On page 12 of your application, it will ask a question for any assets that you sold or given away. If you have sold or given away any assets in the past 2 years, such as giving a property or any amount of money to another person, please bring this information about those assets. On page 12, it will ask you another question about rental assistance housing. So if you or any member of your household is living or had resided in any assisted rental housing, such as public housing, please provide this information. Another question it will ask is if you or any member of your household has committed fraud and or been evicted in any housing assistance program, you need to provide us the information as well. On page 13, if there are any children 6 years and under who have elevated blood levels of lead, you need to provide us the name and documentation. This is not for eligibility purposes, but for inspection purposes. On page 13, for qualified elderly and disabled head of household or spouse, you qualify for this expense deduction called medical expense deduction. These medical expenses are not covered by insurance and are typically considered out of pocket. So please provide us the names, addresses of the health providers, such as physicians, dental visits, or pharmacy. This can also include medical insurance premiums or amounts deducted from your pay for medical insurance. So the goal for collecting this information may impact by lowering your rent share from these medical expenses that you have paid out of pocket for. Please understand that expense deductions may or may not be for dollar value. Okay, on the page of 14, you will have the application, tenant certification, and notice. This notice will serve as information about fraud. It is that a person is guilty of a felony for knowingly and willingly making false or fraudulent statements to any department or agency of the United States. Any attempt to obtain public housing, any rent subsidy or rent reduction by false information, impersonation, failure to disclose, or other fraud, and any act of assistance to such attempt is a crime under Hawaii. There would be an information area where you can place if you had assistance when filling out your application. This is called your translation statement. So if you have a friend or another person helping you with your application, please have that person put their information here so know how our office can communicate to you in the future. The next page of your application will be the supplement to application. This is considered your emergency contact. So this is valuable for our office to have, as sometimes it may be hard to reach you. We may rely on this second person to be a way to reach out to you. So to complete this application page, you need to put your name on the top and sign in date, and also include all the information in between, such as your mailing address, telephone number. And if you do select someone as your emergency contact, please add as much information you have. If you don't want to choose an emergency contact at this time, there'll be a box on this paper to choose that you do not wish to have an emergency contact. My recommendation is to select somebody such as your case manager, your family member, social worker, or someone you will depend on in an event that we can't reach you. You will need to sign a form to acknowledge the use of medical marijuana. Your head of household will need to sign here, and also the co-head or the spouse. Again, marijuana is considered a controlled substance. So if you or any members of your household are found to manufacture, possess, or distribute a controlled substance of any kind from your assisted unit, the family will be automatically terminated from the program. Then there'll be a form called a Statement of Family Obligations. All of this information here is drawn directly from your Housing Choice voucher. So it's important to look at each line and share it with other adult members in the household so they can be responsible household members to you. On the back of that page, you'll see a line where the head of household needs to print, sign, and date that form. It is required that for any household changes or income changes, you need to report it within 10 days in writing. So if your household member left, such as your friend has left or your partner has left, you need to let us know in writing within 10 days, and so that our examiners can make the adjustments for you. The next form you will see is a family summary sheet. You will summarize your entire household on this sheet. So if you have 5 members, all 5 members of your names should be listed on this table. So it would be your last name, your first name, the relationship to your head of household. So it could be your head, the spouse, co-head, dependent, the sex, the date of birth, and declaration status on the right side will match the declaration legend below. Included in your application, you have 2 of these declaration of 214 status forms. This form needs to be completed for all household members. This includes all adults and minors. The adults will sign for themselves, and also the adults will sign for their minors. So say you have 2 children and you're the parent will sign for those 2 children. The instructions for this document will be on the back of that same form. But as a reminder, this form needs to be completed for all household members. So say if you have 5 members in your household, you just need to double check if you have 5 of these in your application. You might need to request more or look at our website for more of this documentation to add to your application. As a review of this document, for box 1, you're claiming that you're a U.S. citizen, so no other documentation is required. If you select box 2, you are a citizen of the federal states of Micronesia, Palau, or Marshall Islands. If you're checking box 3 or 4, this will be any other type of eligible immigrant status. Please contact our staff for additional documents so that we can verify your immigration status. Box 5 and Box 6 are both ineligible immigration statuses. So if you check Box 5, you are an ineligible family member who does not have any eligible immigration status. If your Box 6 is selected, that means you are a non-contending family member. So a form must be completed, but please talk to us if you have any concerns or questions about these 2 boxes because these are ineligible family members to Section 8 programs. This is the forms you need in the event that you're claiming an eligible immigrant status, so do contact us so that you can get this form out to you. This will be also available on our website if needed. The next form attached is the Authorization for the Release of Information Privacy Act Notice. Each adult member over the age of 18 will need to sign this form. So if you have 3 adult members, you need to sign this form. All 3 of them have to sign this form. Even though some people just turned 18, they also need to sign this form. This form allows us to verify your benefits, or your income sources, or your assets. So this is a required document from the Housing and Urban Development HUD. The next form we have here is the debts owed to public housing and agencies. For every adult member in the household, each of this form needs to be completed. So if you have 3 adult members in your household, we need 3 separate forms of this particular document to be completed. Please review both sides. You'll be understanding that with this form completed, we can verify if you have owed any housing assistance debts to any public housing or rental assistance programs. Say if you owe money to State of Hawaii Section 8, you may want to reach out back to them to see if you have any other outstanding balance, as having a balance owed may affect your Housing Section 8 application. This next form, again, each household member that is over the age of 18 needs to complete. There'll be a set number of these forms in your application, but if you have more than, I would say, 2 members that are over the age of 18, including yourself, you might need to reach our website for more copies of this document. It's a 2-page document, so please don't forget to complete the front and the back side, where if you did say yes to any of these questions about your criminal background, to please help clarify that history with us and print, sign, and date to confirm that it is okay with us to complete the criminal background check. We have included additional forms to assist you with your verifications. For example, this asset verification form can be useful in the event that you cannot find your 3 months of bank statements. You can send this to your financial institution or a teller at a bank so that they can complete it out for you. I welcome you to try online servicing for a lot of asset verifications, such as printing out bank statements from your online bank account so that you can avoid going to the bank account for the same information they will put out here. We also included an employee's report form. This form here will be helpful to help verify your current employment situation. So if you don't have 4 months of pay stubs, this could be helpful to make that verification complete. This can be also used if you just started a job maybe a week ago, or you're going to start a job very soon. Have this employer complete this employer report form so that we can verify your employment. Attached to your entire packet will be an items to submit form. This is a good takeaway to see if you missed anything in my presentation, or if you just wanted notes to know how much stuff I need to bring. So this is a good checklist to just go over in case you missed something. As a reminder, complete your application and don't be late in turning your documents. Bring original and photocopy your documents, or just be ready to provide your original of your documents at any time. Be sure the head of household's name is on all verification forms that are submitted to our office, and be sure all adult members sign the application form. The application is like a snapshot, your financial snapshot as of today. So do not add any information that is old or obsolete. Don't add jobs that are 3 years old or jobs you no longer work for. We want to know about information about your current financial situation. If we require additional forms, you can go to our website at this address you see here, and we will have information where you can download additional documents and you can print it out from there. If you have also any other questions, you can reach our office by contacting us by phone or email. Our email is ccsh8@honolulu.gov, or you can go to this website here and you can contact our office directly with the information you see there. Mahalo.